New Black World Order TV Productions. Chopper. What's happening, family? Grand Rising. Yes, I'm here today to talk to you about, y'all know the Joel Olsteen incident down in Texas, where the man is said to have refused to allow the citizens of Texas, particularly Houston, to come into his arena that are houses somewhere in the nature of 15 to 16,000 people, right? Now, some of the people, you know, that are criticizing Joel Olsteen may very well be in the same shoes as him. But I don't think some of his critics, right, have thought of this. But y'all know how I do. I seem to ask the questions that nobody asks, particularly in some of these cases and situations, and such as this one. Let's look at it. Some people, right, haven't thought out their criticisms of Joel Olsteen, and some have, and they're dead on the money, okay? So let's look at, let's say I lived right next to Houston where there was no flooding, and I was a black man who owned a fleet of charter buses, right? Let's say I had 150 buses, right? And I basically, right, was pro-black. I was known to be pro-black. I was known to be one of the premier organizations that are out here fighting for quote unquote the liberation of black people, right? But when time came, such as an incident as Hurricane Harvey in Houston, I didn't offer my buses as a means to evacuate people out of Houston into safer grounds. How would you look at me? How would you think about me, right? Now, we can prove that Joel Olsteen had a facility capable of housing, right, thousands of people. But it's an hypothesis that there is a black gentleman down in that area who owns a fleet of charter buses, right? But we're using that as an example because I'm going somewhere with this. Walk with me. I'm literally going somewhere with this. So the man refuses, but he's online, right, criticizing Joel Olsteen, right? But at the same time, he's not offering his fleet of buses. I bring this up to say because I made a Facebook post, right, that talked about the people who are promoting that there is a mothership, UFOs, crafts, etc. To some of them, they're unidentified, and some of them claim that they have identified, right, and that they are in contact with said ships. Now, I bring up the thing mothership because there is some people or organizations of black who fit the stereotype or the status of black liberator, right? But just like the man who possibly exists somewhere near Houston who has the fleet of charter buses, right? Who claims to be pro-black but won't offer his buses to evacuate. Does this man, right, have the right to criticize Joel Olsteen? So I took this question to those who were online who really exist. Black organizations that promote that they're in contact with, right, said technological advanced flying apparatuses called a mothership. Now, this particular organization that responded to my post, because it was a generalized post, because there are many, many different black organizations who promote such technology with the ability to save thousands of lives. So, brother Dade X responds, brother, I don't understand your question. Well, my question was, to those who promote or believe in motherships, UFOs, etc., we really need your help in Houston, right? Because one of you, basically teach that there's a mothership hovering above America, and you term it a wheel of destruction, and that inside of this ship is 1,500 smaller crafts. That's 10 times the amount of buses that the gentleman that we talked about hypothesized about, right? Because it's an hypothesis that such a man exists near Houston with a fleet of 150 charter buses. But these people who teach that there's a mothership said that this is not a hypothesis, but this is an actual fact. A wheel within a wheel, a flying technological invention that can go outside of the Earth's atmosphere. And at a particular time in the future, it would be used to destroy the white man's world. Well, I thought about it. I said, hey, if you got a ship with 1,500 smaller crafts on it, it could possibly pick up 2 people apiece. That would make 3,000 people quickly spirited to safety, right, in one air trip. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. But just like we hypothesized about the man with the 150 buses, they're not offering the 1,500 ships or the mothership as a place that could house people who need to be rescued from the current situations that exist in Houston. The brother thought I was making mockery. I was just saying, these people really believe that such a ship exists. Well, hey, shit, maybe it does. So I'm saying, hey, why don't you go in there and help black people? His response was, brother, you don't understand the teachings of the will. He said, I didn't understand that. Me? I didn't understand that? Brother, I was in the Nation of Islam before there was a Facebook or YouTube or any of that. Brother, I mastered the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so, to say that to me, without knowing who I was, without knowing who you were talking to, right? And so you thought I was making mockery. I'm saying to you that if it's funny, if it's hilarious to even have the idea of a mothership, then it was funny when it first came out of the mouth of Master Farad Muhammad. And then you said, you indicated that the ship's sole purpose was to destroy the white man, that the ship was purposely made for the destruction of white people, and that it did not pick up people in disaster situations. I said that was some of the dumbest shit that you could have ever said. Because if Joel Olsteen is wrong for not allowing people safety within a building that could hold 15 to 16,000 people, then you motherfuckers need to shut up with the criticism, Joel Olsteen, because I criticize you both. You both, right, boast of such things that are natured around this subject where y'all could have helped out. If the Nation of Islam mothership would have showed up with its 1,500 smaller crafts, if it really existed, but instead of you realizing it's an hypothesis, that it's a narrative, it's a story, and that your mothership only exists in your story, you were faced, right, with the fact that you claim to have something that you couldn't even use. Even believers, since you brought up your brothers are just believers, but when you want our money, when you want us to buy a bean pie or a newspaper, you don't talk all this, my brothers are just how I believe, or they believe just as I. No, you want that money. But we can't use the ship in a time of disaster. Such technological capabilities and its airlift abilities to save and remove thousands of people in a short period of time couldn't be used because it's all exclusively for the white man. Stop criticizing Joel Olsteen, or just go ahead and admit that you are not in contact with a mothership, that you are not in contact with such technology. If it was, you guys would have the iPhone 60, but you don't have that neither.